Welcome to the Metal Deacon. Got no other than Sean Michel with me today. Some people might know Sean from running a generator stage at Cornerstone, which grew, had a big following, and what most people would consider the main stage at Audiofeed.
Yeah.
That suddenly turned into that festival of its own. But who are you according to yourself, if I may ask?
Yeah, my name's Sean Michel, and I'm I don't know, man. I'm just an ordinary guy, I guess, with a big beard, and I like to play rock and roll music, you know. And but yeah, with the stage that we made, you know, at Cornerstone, at first it was really about. We felt like it was something that God really wanted us to do, because a lot of people, or at least I struggled with at Cornerstone, or any kind of music festival. You know, you go there to try to get your band heard, you know, and it's like, oh, I want my music out there. I want people to like us. And I struggled with that, but I felt like it was weird when I felt a peace in my spirit that what if we went to a music festival and we ran a stage to help other people get their music out there?
Yeah.
And it became this attitude of serving. Like, instead of going there to serve myself or serve the music that I write and play, what if we go and serve other musicians and maybe wash their feet, in a sense, you know, by just working hard, busting our butts to make it the best stage we could make it, you know, with what we had. We didn't have a whole lot the first year, and it just gradually grew. And from that, man, God helped us build so many relationships with not just the bands, but the people who were coming to support these bands.
Yeah.
And it became like a family. So it was cool to see how forgetting ourselves for a minute and serving other people, you know, I don't know, it was just a much better place to be at mentally than trying to push our own stuff, you know. We wanted to help other people push their stuff. And in turn, we had no idea that doing that for 5 years, we didn't know Cornerstone was going to eventually kind of fade out. And we definitely had no idea that another festival was just going to rise up almost immediately the following year. And we got to be the big forerunners in starting that festival and helping that go. And so, I don't know, I can't see down the road, you know, in time. We can just take it a day at a time, but it's cool to see how God used something that we felt called to do. And we kind of had a love-hate relationship with Cornerstone, because it was like,
some people,
well, we loved Cornerstone, but we knew how hard the work was going to be, you know, and it was taxing, man. It was draining, especially those last 2 years. It was so hot, man, and so we were busting our butts, working 12-hour days, plus playing every day on our own stage, you know, and so that got to be pretty tough, but all of it was worth it, you know, to see the relationships we have with other people now, not just in this area, but around the world, you know.
Yeah. So you play mainly blues rock with really soul to it, but as I see you, you're one of the most metal guys. I know you got that, because to me, being metal is just how I've experienced it with Sanctuary Denmark and the metal crowd. It's that brotherhood, it's that tight brotherhood, and embracing that we've got something in common, and supporting each other, and that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, and the metal scene too, you know, it's that subculture. It's all kind of underground in a lot of ways still. I mean, obviously there's huge metal bands, but there is that family unit almost, that camaraderie, because you have to have it, because I mean, the mass population doesn't really support or get who you are. And so I've always been able to relate, I feel like, and honestly, man, we play a lot of shows with metal bands, so I probably play more shows with metal bands than blues artists, you know. And so it's kind of weird. I've always felt at home with the metal scene and hardcore and all that other stuff, like, because I grew up, well, like in college especially, you know, all my friends were into that. I was never really into that, but going to shows with them gave me a love and a respect for the genre just in general, you know, and what the genre brings to the table, you know, which is mainly just like balls to the wall, like I'm gonna go crazy on stage and just let everything out, all my anger, all my aggression, and the breakdowns, you know, and the beats. I've always been attracted to beats, you know, and just the rhythm and the groove. And so there's aspects of that in metal that, and especially the hardcore scene in the late 90s, like I took a lot from that. It influenced me even in the style that I was writing, you know, so it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I totally agree with everything you're saying.
Yeah.
And what I love about metal and hardcore is like the band will give it absolutely everything. They won't leave anything back. If you got a 30-day tour every night, you're gonna give it absolutely everything. And that's what I see you do every time you play live, even though you play three times in a day.
Yeah, it's hard to do that, man. It's hard to and yeah, that genre, definitely, there's no holding back. And it's almost like we want to hurt ourselves.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want to see if I can scream my vocal cords out of my neck, you know, and just like destroy myself, like every show. Like, that's kind of the attitude that, like, real, genuine, like, just hardcore and just everything. It's like, that was kind of it. It's like, I'm basically going to kill myself every show. And there's something to respect about that, man. When you see artists on the stage who just lay it all out, you can't help but watch them burn. You know, if they're going to set themselves on fire, you know, people are going to come watch you burn. And I try to have that mentality every time I play. You know, I don't always achieve that, but you have to fight through the fatigue, because at the end of the day, it is about the people there. It is about the crowd.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you. So, you've been doing this. How long have you been Sean Michel as a...
Yeah, I've been touring about like since 2003-ish, early 2000s. And it's kind of morphed into me being a performer and a touring. But
so if I may interrupt, that so since 2003, so that's quite a few years already.
Yeah.
How have you kept going? And because I'm sure that sometimes there hasn't been a whole lot of people, and so how have you? Today you can sit and talk about serving other people, and it's about the people and giving it all you got. How have you been able to keep going as a musician and performer without giving up? Because some people might be surprised why you're not a bigger superstar and selling more records and having a mansion. So why do you keep going, serving people in that capacity?
I guess the reason we were able to still keep going today is, I don't know, I think the only explanation I can really give is that God's hand is somehow upon it, and He always provides enough to keep going. And we've never, I don't know, our focus has never really been about being on a record label. I've never tried to shop for record labels or anything like that. I've never really had a desire to. Now, I've kind of grown to the point to where I would love to figure out and become more business savvy. I don't think there's anything wrong with that necessarily, unless that becomes your main goal. If your main goal is about making more money as an artist, it kind of gets in the way of creativity and drive as an artist. So I don't know, I'm kind of realizing it's a fine balance there, and I got to find that balance. I'm still in that process, but if there's a way I could make more, I hate to say make a living, but you know, where the music funds itself, you know, and you can continue to make more money. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, because I have been doing it for so long. But like, for me early on, it was a calling. I felt like, and it's taken me a long time to even understand what that means and to embrace that about myself. Like, okay, this is obviously something that God has gifted me to do, so I need to do it with with everything I have, and why is he giving me this gifting?
Yeah.
Like early on, I would tour. I was telling you earlier, when we first started touring, we did our first tour out west after we had been touring for like 2 years or 3 years, and I was in Olympia, Washington, playing this show at a coffee shop, and there was 3 people there, and 2 of them were workers. So, you know, and I always told people that I played music for Jesus and all this stuff, but man, I really think I was just kind of bullshitting. Like, I really was playing music for myself, you know, and that day at that show, you know, I was like 2,000 miles from home, and I'm just sitting there playing, and I'm in the middle of singing and acting holy, you know, or whatever. And in my mind, I was just wrestling with God, because I was like, this sucks. Why am I here playing a show for 3 people I don't even know? I could be at home, 2,000 miles back at home, just watching a TV show that I like or something, you know? And while I'm singing and playing the song, I'm thinking about this. And I felt like the Holy Spirit was just like whispering in my head, you know, while I'm playing the song. If you can't give me everything and give these people everything and worship or whatever in front of 3 people, what makes you think it's going to be real when there's 3,000 people? Like, are you not just doing it for the people? Are you not just doing it for those people to love you? So if you can love me with everything you have through this music and these people now, then it'll prove that it's real later. And that began the process, one of the slow processes of me realizing that one of the biggest priorities as an artist, whether it's music or film or whatever kind of art form you have, the artist should always be a servant, but not serve themselves to be put on a pedestal like a massive pop artist. That's not the point. The point is, artists since the beginning of time have always been, they make art to portray a point, to share truth with people.
Oh, yeah.
And in a way, that's a humbling job to have, you know, especially if it's like, well, what if it's only 3 people listening to me? Like, is this worth my time? You know, and you have to answer those questions, because later you might have a show where there's 400, 4,000, 40,000 people. And if you're grinding it out in front of 4 people to serve them, then you're much better off later on down the road. If you do have a massive crowd, I'm still about serving them, not about serving myself. And so that's been a long journey for me to try to figure out, and I still struggle with it. You know, I mean, last year I played at a big festival, and the night before we played a show, it was like literally 2 people, and I didn't want to play the show. And the only reason there was 2 people there is because a massive band was playing at the festival for free. So I knew there wasn't going to be anybody there. I knew there wasn't going to be anybody there, but we were playing the next day. And these ladies bought us a couple beers, and we're like, all right, now we really got to play for them. And I was just able to turn that thought off in my mind of like, I don't want to be here, you know. And I was just like, screw it, man. Like, let's give these ladies the best show they've ever seen. And it was awesome. They were calling their friends, and by the end of the show, we had like 6 people there. You know, it's like it tripled the crowd. And we just ended up staying up all night talking with them after the show, and they bought merch. And it was a great time, man. We had just a good time with these people. And then the next day, we played a show for like 400 to 600 people, you know, and it was just like, and it felt good, because I was like, all right, I can give these people everything I got, because yesterday I gave a small crowd everything we got. And so yeah, at the end of the day, it is about connecting with your audience. And for me, it's more than that. I'm hoping to connect with the audience, but helping the audience connect with their creator. And if that happens, you know, and it's bigger than myself, then I feel like, okay, this is what I was called to do, you know. And so that's why we do it. That's why we carry all the really heavy gear and break our backs, you know, and like unload and load and sweat, you know.
Yeah, because it's playing on our porch last night, a house show, even. Yeah. It's not even a club. It hasn't been. We don't even have a poster. It's you can show up and maybe it's only us being here.
Yeah.
It's a big risk. We had a really great crowd yesterday, and I'm glad to see you sold some merch and got a bunch of new fans. Saw you the first time, but still, it's a risk.
Yeah.
When instead of going the route you're signing to a big record label, and will push you the way.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. That's the thing. If you are doing it independently, there are some perks to it in the fact that you can do that. You can play at a house, and it's no big deal.
And then, of course, as a Christian, if you feel God is leading you, the Holy Spirit to take this gig, then you can do it.
Yeah, you can do it, and we also play in a lot of different countries too, and so, but it's countries that, some of the countries you go play, I'm going to go play in a village, so it's like, I'm not going to sell any CDs. Obviously, they don't even have CD players. So it's like, why am I doing that? Well, because I feel like God has told me to go to whoever, wherever, and, and proclaim the truth and love, through music. And there's something about music that can break down cultural walls, even barriers in language. It doesn't matter, man. I think the way God created music and designed it, even on a scientific level with sound waves, and then they vibrations through the air, and it hits our eardrums, and our eardrums perceive these sound waves into something that goes from here to here to here in the soul, and then you start having goosebumps. Like, how does that even happen? What is the miracle behind the science of music? I mean, it boggles my mind, man. So, and it's just, it's an amazing gift, to be a part of. So,
it really is. Well, yeah, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. It's cool. I'm glad we finally had you play at our house.
Yeah, it was an honor. It was cool.
Cool.
And I loved it, man. It was a good group here, and there was a lot of people in your front yard, man. A lot of cars, man. It was awesome.
Yeah.
So
it's gonna be hard to mow next time. So the wheel tracks over the grass. Definitely.
So I appreciate it. Thanks for the honor, man, to play, man. Love you guys.
Love you. All right. Peace of Christ with you.